We're born in the moonlight. Ain't no fair to say. Can't breathe in the sunlight.
Hello, Romas. This is Aromie here. Welcome back to Changeling. We're here with Ewan, who helped us get off of the, the hill part of the pond. Whatever. We're talking with him now. It's okay. So, how's school? Oh, we're also having awkward conversations. Ewan raised an eyebrow at that query. Okay, I guess when I'm not rescuing classmates from ditches. Gosh, what the hell? No, it's hardly a rescue, and it's not exactly a ditch either. Oh, my mistake. Maybe you like to go back down and climb out by yourself then. Well, that just seems like a waste of energy. I shot him a sidelong look. We hadn't really talked much since that day in the library. I still found him found him to be kind of an enigma. Standoffish at times, flat out rude to others, strangely nice at others. Wow, seems like the type of guy I would go for. There was also definitely a sense of humor in there, but it seemed like it was reluctant to surface sometimes. I studied his profile silently and soon found myself staring at that collar he always wore. I wondered, fashion statement? Or, I mean, it looks like there's a little lock pad on it to make sure he locks his head in there or something. I thought about that old urban legend with the little girl that wore the ribbon around her neck to keep her head on. That always struck me as weird, even as a kid. Didn't seem like a ribbon would quite do the trick. The heavy leather collar probably helps anyway. I wonder how the whole thing works anyway. How does it actually detach and reattach? Look, or maybe I really didn't want to know. I realized suddenly that Ewan was staring back at me. Shoot! Quickly looked away, flushing slightly. I didn't mean to stare like that. I staked another look at him, but his expression had closed off, and it felt like a wall suddenly went up between us. Well, fuck, dude! We needed a distraction, or maybe I should just head back home and wait for Ellie there. Try to distract him. I mean, I really want to get to know him, and the only way to get to know the people that are very introverted like myself is to try to keep, like, talking to them, so then you eventually hit a conversation that would work, right? At least that works with me. For other people, I prefer people that like to talk more, so then eventually I can chime in, because I'm not a great conversational starter, so only because I'm fucking an introvert, alright? It's my bad. Oh, look at that! I pointed vaguely over at Ewan's shoulder, as if I'd maybe been looking that way the entire time. Because the old look at that trick always works so well in movies and cartoons. Yes, I was a brilliant strategist indeed. I mentally kicked myself. It might be time to just remove myself from society for the greater good and become a hermit in the mountains for the rest of my life. Ewan lifted an eyebrow and cautiously looked where it pointed. And what exactly am I looking at? I frantically looked for something, anything that might look vaguely interesting, so of course there was nothing. That tree, isn't it pretty? She says in a location where they are surrounded by trees that all look the same. Really, Michiko, you're a genius. Why, thank you. Ewan gave me a dubious look. Well, it looks like a tree. It's a pretty tree. Look how bright the leaves are. All the trees over there look exactly the same. Hush up, Hugh. Hey, I spent the last 5 years in a place that barely had trees. I'm just glad to be back somewhere I can actually enjoy fall. There's greenery here. It's nice. That tree isn't green. Yeah, well, orangey sounds weird, and I'm pretty sure it's not a thing. The awkward wall crumbled slightly, and Ewan's half smirk was back. Fair enough. I was relieved, and I made a mental note to not stare at him anymore, given his issue and the fact I'd already fainted once. I didn't want to stir up awkwardness between us, not when he was one of the only other fairies I knew. There was a short blare of a car horn just as the car crested the top of the hill and came toward us. It was Ellie. Well, it looks like my ride's here. Thanks for the daring rescue earlier. I appreciate it. Yeah. Oh, he looks so soft. Look, I don't know what you were doing down there, but for the record, you need to be more careful. Yeah, walking down an embankment to a shallow stream is truly not fair for the faint of heart. You probably thought that the first time you did it too, and that time a spriggan tried to drag you off into the trees. This time there wasn't a spriggan. Lucky for you. Yes, also lucky for me that a cranky Dullahan stopped his gallant steed long enough to rescue me from the evil clutches of air. I mean, a knight in semi-shiny leather isn't quite on par with a knight in shiny armor, but I mean, I shrugged. Some of the tension eased out of his shoulders at the gentle teasing. Cute. It's a gift. Cute. Yeah, I don't care. Even if you're saying that as a mock, I'm gonna still take it as you called us cute. So I gave him a hopeful smile that he didn't return as he instead popped his helmet back on. See you later then. He jumped back on his bike and revved the engine, driving off just as Ellie pulled to a stop. I watched him go before joining her in her car. Ellie gave me a curious look as I slipped into the passenger seat. What are you doing down here with Ewan? Oh, and for the record, I super appreciate the informative text I got beforehand. Sorry, I meant to do it, but I got a little distracted. By Ewan? Oh, please. Also, can you stop looking at me and please watch the road? But you haven't answered my question yet. Blame it on Spencer? Let's tell her the truth. I just wanted to have another look at the bridge, that's all. I told you to stay away from there if you recall. I know, but you also said the spring was relocated, so I thought it would be fine. It was relocated, so why bother going back there? I don't know, I don't know. I had this feeling like I needed to go look at it. Oh my god, please do not start with the weird fairy compulsions. Fairy compulsions? Yes, they are notorious for their compulsive behavior. Just don't start. What kind of compulsions exactly? Could that be what the sleepwalking was? Some nighttime compulsion to go, I don't know, befriend woodland creatures? Dance in the moonlight? No, it doesn't feel like that. Then again, my experience with fake compulsions was pretty limited. What kind of compulsion? Anything, everything. Hiding stuff, hoarding stuff, stealing stuff, sleepwalking? She gave me a suspicious look. Why specifically mention that one? Well, I mean, I've sort of been doing that since we got back. Like, out into the woods at night. What? You're doing what? Wow, thank God in this part she just tells her straight up. Oops, sorry, I'm hitting you guys. I'm so sorry. Road, Ellie, look at the road, oh my god! Ellie jerked the car back into our lane while I clutched her dash and waited for my life to stop flashing before my eyes. Sorry about that. Jeez! Sorry! I don't even know if I should tell you more. You might get us killed if I keep talking. Well, you sprung that on me out of nowhere. I didn't mean to. I mean, would you rather I not tell you? We were both silent for a few seconds. You've been sleepwalking outside. Really? Yeah. When did this start exactly? Well, when we got back here. Actually, the first time was the day I joined the club, to be specific. I got all the way out into the woods before I woke up that night. I wasn't sure what was worse, waking up in the middle of the woods or in the middle of the street. It happened several times since then. Every time I'm either outside or trying to get outside. It started a week ago and you're just now telling me? Hey, it's better than the other routes where I didn't tell you at all until near end game. Just saying. Well, I just initially figured it was stress or something, but now I'm not so sure. Why not? I'm usually dreaming when it happens. Kind of. But I guess it's more like a lucid dream, only not quite. I mean, it's like part of me is awake and walking around while the other part of me is just watching, half asleep. I can't really control myself like you're supposed to be able to in a lucid dream. It's weird. It's like I'm being driven to go out. That's why I thought of it when you mentioned compulsions. It kind of freaks me out, to be honest. Well, that's understandable. And no matter what the cause, it isn't safe for you to be walking around in your sleep, especially this time of year. The Samhain thing again. It's a rough time of year for midnight escapades. I really just want to get a decent night's sleep. You do look pretty tired. Yeah, well, I feel pretty tired too. Look, I'll try to find a solution that at least helps keep you inside. Finding out why you're sleepwalking in the first place is one thing, but for now, we need to find a way to stop you from getting out of your room. I have a friend that might be able to help with that. How exactly? Because whatever we do, it has to be something Mom won't notice. Well, I want to talk to Shelly about it first, but I have a few ideas. Besides, it'll be good for you to meet some of the other club members, some of the ones that don't show up or get involved as often. Just so you know, we're all normal. Literally none of you are normal. You just have to change your definition of normal. If I change it any more than I already have, it's going to lose all meaning entirely. At school, Ellie and I huddled together against the cold as we headed inside. We usually arrived early for Allie's extra credit work in the building. But my little bridge excursion had set us back. The hall was busier than usual. We split up as she went to check in, and I decided to do what little time was left before class. After dropping my books by my locker and taking a bathroom break to clean the last of the mud off my boots, I didn't really have time to go up to the clubroom like I'd been doing the past few mornings. It meant no research or reading before class, which was a little disappointing, but I just headed to literature instead. There wasn't much time before the first bell anyway. There were already quite a few students milling around the classroom when I got there. Danny and Elliot were swamped by a group of friends on the opposite side of the room as usual. I waved, and as I waved back, Danny motioned me over. Elliot, head propped on his arm, appeared to be nodding off. Well, that was usual. I shot Danny a smile as I sidled alongside his desk. Sleeping Beauty is out again. Literature seems to be a decent cure for his insomnia. Class hasn't even started yet. As his friends took turns trying to prod Elliot awake, Danny gestured me closer. Looks like we're getting seats moved around again. If you end up with Elliot, do me a favor and keep him out of trouble. He gets into trouble a lot? Well, he falls asleep a lot. I didn't notice that. But what if he ends up with someone else? The chances I'll end up with him are pretty slim. Then he leaned a bit closer in, quickly looking toward his friends, who were still teasing Elliot. I think you'll find people in our club often end up partnered together in this class. Really? Why would that be the case? Unless the teacher was cryptic too. They really keep us corralled together, don't they? I'll help him if we sit together. It's pretty common for them to do that because we're all paranormal, so we know what's going on within each other. But if you partner up with someone like that's a normal student, they're gonna be like, why the fuck is he sleepy all the time? I'll help him if we sit together. It was kind of weird that they kept us together like that, but in the end I could see why it would be more convenient for everyone that way. Sure, I'll help him out if we sit together. Danny looked pleased at that. He shot me the usual friendly smile. Glad to hear it. I can't help but worry about him. He doesn't always pay the closest attention to his grades. I already worried he won't graduate. Ellie does nothing but worry me half the time. I laugh quietly, amused by his mothering. I hope he finds a way to handle his insomnia a bit better, though. Not sure how possible that was when the reason he probably wasn't sleeping was because he was a vampire. Well, he usually manages, but between both his part-time jobs, it's got a bit tougher. Both of them? Ellie has 2 jobs? Excuse me. I knew he interned with the weird agency Ellie worked at. I had no idea he had another job, too, though. Wasn't it like... I don't quite remember, but Danny didn't get a chance to answer. Miss Roberts stepped inside and chatter and quieted down as we were quickly assigned new seats and partners. Danny had definitely called it. I was, in fact, assigned to sit with Elliot. Danny was with Allie, across the room from us. Mark and William were each still alone. That sucks. Why? I don't know why they'd be separated when the rest of us were grouped up. But whatever, maybe Mark had taken to eating his classmates, so they had to isolate him. I doubt that, but the idea makes me laugh. Elliot gave me a tired smile as he slid into his desk. Hi, Elliot. He really did look worse than normal. He knew he didn't sleep much at night, but the circles under his eyes were deep and darker than before. Hi. His yawn kind of ruined the greenie, but it made me chuckle. Tired. How could you tell? He yawned again, head dropping onto his hands. I suppressed a giggle as I watched him. Poor guy. Tell me when class is over. No. You're going to be reading Shakespeare with me. I hope you know. He gave me a pleading look. Nope, no naps for you. Sorry. Oh man, class was interesting. Alright. I already missed my previous reading partner. Though it was at least funny listening to Elliot read. We were both yawning so much it was also torture. I started elbowing him in the side every time he started to yawn, just because each time he did it, it made me yawn too. By the time the bell rang, my head felt like it was going to crack open if I yawned one more time. The rest of the morning went pretty fast. I was grateful to finally be heading to the cafeteria for lunch. I stepped through the door, scanning for Danny and Elliot since I typically sat with the 2 of them. They had pretty much adopted me after my first day back. I didn't know if it was just a sense of responsibility or if they really wanted me to sit with them, but I wasn't questioning it for now. It was better than sitting alone. Hey! Who's this? I started over to the usual table, ignoring the voice at first. I just assumed it was someone yelling to their friends. Hey, you! Oh, it's pink-haired guy. I glanced over my shoulder and came face to face with an incoming pink blur that slammed into me. Ow! Sorry, I'm so sorry. I looked up, rubbing my poor smashed nose. I knew this guy, Drake or something. He was a club member, but we'd never spoken before. His pink hair was hard to forget, though. Not so much because it was pink. I mean, he wasn't the only kid in school with brightly colored hair. Hair dye was a thing. There was just so much of it. Hi, Michiko. Hello? Oh, right. Sorry, I forgot we haven't really been introduced yet. The boy beamed and held out his hand. I'm Trayson. Alright, Trayson. That was his name. Did you need something? Oh, I'm a friend of Ewan. Oh, what? He said I should come say hello. Wait, he did? My brow furrowed at that. Ewan asked one of his friends to say hello to me. Ewan had friends? Honestly. I'm shook. This pink-haired tornado was one of Ewan's friends. This did not compute. Ewan told you to say hello. Why? Jason frowned, slightly confused. I watched him stand there for the longest time, gears almost visibly turning. I wonder if that's his natural color. Now that I was looking closely, I realized he also had a strange mark on his forehead. Oh! He does! It was mostly obscured by his hair, but it looked almost like a scar or something. I don't know. Really, he just seemed to think I should. Wait, what? He shrugged and smiled again. But it's still nice to meet you. I laughed slightly. I really could not imagine this guy being Ewan's friend. Talk about an odd couple. Well, honestly, what? Anyway, this is where we're going to stop for today. I didn't even notice a scar on Drayson's forehead at first either. Was it always there? It was probably always there, and I was just too focused on the hair to not notice the forehead. But anyway, this is where we're gonna stop for today. I'm very shook that Drayson is Ewan's friend. Are you guys like best friends? Because that's wild. But anyway, thank you guys for watching today's episode. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Touch it, touch it, touch. I need that.